I'm Cynthia James, and this network is about changing lives one woman at a time.
Welcome to Women Awakening. I'm your host, Cynthia James. I get the distinct honor and privilege to bring powerful women to you. I think this is a moment in history and in time where women's energy is emerging. And there is a deep call, a soul call, if you will, for women to stand in their power, to bring their light, to show leadership, to step out, even in the face sometimes of challenging moments. And so the women that I introduce to you are women that have taken charge of their own lives. They have said, this is what I want to do in the world. These are the gifts I want to bring to the world, and I will not be moved. And so I'm grateful. We do these every week. And we're on all the platforms: Spotify, iTunes, iHeart, Spreaker, Amazon Video, on YouTube. Look for Women Awakening with Cynthia James. You can also go to my website, cynthiajames.net. There's lots of events and things going on in my world and lots of gifts for you. Today, I get to introduce you to someone that I have known for a very long time, in person, but also as a witness to her evolution. Her name is Natalie Oliver Atherton. She is Miss Senior America 24-25, Mrs. Centennial 2023, Mrs. Colorado American 2023, and she boasts an illustrious career spanning over 2 decades as the musical director and conductor of the internationally acclaimed vocal ensemble. They're called STARS, Singers Taking Action, Reaching Souls. And her journey has taken her across the globe, and she's been captivating audiences with her extraordinary talents. I mean, she's got a list of things on her resume that, it would take the whole time to tell you, but she's a singer and she's an actress. And her credits include the role of Gypsy Acid Queen in 2 international tours of The Who's Tommy in Germany and Canada. Constance and David Merrick's OK, Andrea Devereaux in Once on This Island, and thought-provoking A Brief History of White Music. I mean, I've watched her sing with orchestras all over the world. She's done movies. She's done a lot of things. But what's important is that she is a remarkable family person. She has a great dedication to her family, and she resides in Denver. She has a husband of 28 years, Jeffrey, and she's the mother of 3 beautiful children. And she and her husband have created an organization called Namaste, Works of Arts Alliance, and it's a nonprofit dedicated to identifying and nurturing the talents of young adult performing artists. Natalie, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for inviting me.
Well, there's a lot I want to talk to you about, but I want to ask how you grew up. And were you always an artist as a child?
I became an artist as a way to come out of invisibility. I grew up in a small town in Pennsylvania, 19 miles west of Harrisburg, called Carlisle. Its only claims to fame are probably me and Jim Thorpe. The reservation that Jim Thorpe grew up on is in Carlisle and is now the Carlisle Army Barracks.
Mhm.
And I am told that any gentleman in the service who wants to rise in rank at some point has to spend time on this Army Barracks where Jim Thorpe's reservation used to be. So me and Jim.
Right.
I'm the middle child of 3, brother 8 years older, sister 4 years younger. When my sister came along, so because my brother's 8 years older, I felt like an only child in a lot of ways because he was, a big boy and doing his own things, when I was a kid. Then this interloper comes along, my sister, 4 years later, and she wouldn't have seemed so much like an interloper had she not been sickly. She had asthma. And early in her life, she kept deciding not to breathe. So there was a lot of running back and forth to the hospital and being overly concerned about Shelley. And that, when I was 4 years old, I remember, and I actually have pictures of me standing in a doorway, kind of half in, half out, feeling invisible, feeling like because her needs were so much greater than mine, and have been very self-reliant and, busy doing what I wanted to do since I was a little bit of a thing. I felt invisible. And I'm just one of those people that wasn't having that. I wasn't having invisibility. I wasn't having it. And so I became a performer. It started with piano lessons. And then in middle school, moved on to voice lessons. And of course, in high school, I did all the musicals and shows that it was possible to do. I was afraid, coming from a small town, to step out. So for a long time, I said I was going to, because what I wanted more than anything was just, see the world. So I thought I was going to be a flight attendant, because I thought, ooh, you have a steady job and you will get to see the world if you're a flight attendant. But that was only a ruse, and the fear of stepping out into something unknown called the entertainment industry. I mean, from a small town, it's like, what do I know? Nobody's waiting to make me famous. Oh my, what is this? But by the time I became a senior, I thought, okay, well, give it a shot, see what happens. So then you go to college. At first, I thought I was going to be an opera singer. It only took 1 year to figure out that wasn't the right place. I was dating someone who went to Berklee College of Music in Boston. So I was going back and forth once or twice a month to see him. And I would audit classes every now and again when I'd go to see him. And by the time the year was up, I was like, you need to be in a commercial music school, because your affinity, though you love classical music and opera, your talent lay somewhere else. What you love to do lay somewhere else. And, pop, jazz, blues, Broadway, musical theater, all of that came much later. But transferring to Berklee was definitely the right thing to do. So that's sort of, crib notes on small town girl ends up in a big city trying to ply her trade.
Yeah. So, I mean, I've heard you sing,
Mm.
and yeah, I wouldn't consider you an opera singer, but you have an extraordinary range and ability to do different kinds of music. So, I just want to talk a little bit about invisibility, because a lot of my life was about trying to move out of being invisible for different reasons than yours, because it was insanity in my family.
Mm-hmm.
But do you think that many artists
Mm-hmm.
come to want to express because of something like that that has happened in their lives?
Absolutely. I think most of us, I mean, because let's talk. Knowing the entertainment industry and what it takes and how difficult it can be to find the next job and all of that, who would choose that? You know what I mean? Who would choose to have it be that hard, for their lives? But especially when I was young, it didn't feel hard because I loved it so much. Because learning music and getting into plays and traveling the world and all that stuff was so exciting. It's like, if this is what I need to do, learn another song to make these other things happen. I mean, who doesn't want to do that? But I do think that a lot of us, out of some sense of not really knowing who we are and not feeling seen, heard, valued, and understood, end up becoming a performer, because we think if we put ourselves out there, that will bring knowledge of self.
Yes.
And
yes.
I know, certainly as a performer, every role I've played, I've learned something about who I am as a person, dealing with the similarities between me and the characters I play. Like, I just came
Yes.
out of October 13th, we closed POTUS, or Behind Every Great Dumbass, or 7 Women Trying to Keep Him Alive. I just finished that, playing the First Lady.
Wow.
And so, delving into the psyche of what it must have been like for Michelle and Hillary, it was just a very interesting journey. And I found all the cross sections that have me feeling like I can relate to them.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so, entertainment, performing, has allowed me to come out of myself and know myself better so I can put myself out there better, thereby attracting the kind of attention and friendships and love and support that I was looking for as a child.
Absolutely. So I'm very interested. You have quite a journey
Mhm.
of pageants.
Yes.
And I was Miss Minnesota Universe many, many years ago.
Yeah.
And I entered it because I wanted to find a way to become more visible and to do things that's kind of scared me because otherwise I was just going to implode.
Yes.
What called you to pageantry?
At first, because I've been in 3 different systems: Miss America, money, scholarship money for college,
Mhm.
and national television exposure.
Okay.
Both of those things were achieved. I didn't win, but both of those things were achieved and helped to move my career along. Fast forward 20 years, now I'm a Mrs. in my 40s, right? And I decided to be a part of the Mrs. system, Mrs. America. In those first years, it was clear that women of color were not welcome. In fact, I remember a contestant calling me a monkey the first time I was involved. So I was like, okay, you don't need to tell me twice. After doing that twice and having that happen, I was like, okay, never mind. Fast forward 20 more years till I'm 61. And the New Hampshire pageant, that was finally the state pageant that I won. It took 3 states: Pennsylvania,
Mm.
Massachusetts, then finally in the least likely place, New Hampshire. That's where I won. That's what got me to Miss America. So 40 years later, in 2021, they invite me to come judge and celebrate my 40th anniversary and to come and see what my legacy was. And there have been 2 other African American Miss New Hampshires since my reign in 1981. And while I was there, everyone was being real interesting, like real, like, wow, hi, what? And there was a moment during the pageant when all the forever Miss New Hampshires walked across the stage. And God bless them, they all looked like grandmas. They all looked like, you know, grandmas. And here I am in the middle of this, not looking like a grandma yet.
No.
Looking like a grandma yet. And so then I understood, oh, I see. I guess I've kept it together in a different way than these women have. So when I got home from that, I went to see the Miss Colorado pageant, and the director, the new director of the Mrs. system, who I had judged for before, and in fact had judged when she won Mrs. Colorado in 2002, asked me would I enter. And I was feeling all froggy coming from New Hampshire, thinking, well, maybe I still got it. Come on, let's go see if I still got it. So I got involved, and this was right out of COVID. And I was so excited about being back on stage again in a beautiful house. Like, they hold their pageant in the Ellie Calkins.
Mm.
Gorgeous, gorgeous space, right? And there I was again on a big stage. Ooh, I really wasn't paying attention to the pageantry part, though. I was just happy about being back on stage again. So I made the top 10 in 2022. Curtain came down and I was behind it. But I learned some things. I looked around. Okay, now what if I'm really going to try to compete for this? Do I need to do? And I figured out some things that I needed to do to just up my game. And several of the former queens said, you got something. I hope you don't quit. Because I was saying it was my swan song. This is the last time I'm doing pageants. And several of them. And a former Miss World said, no, I don't think you're done yet. So go home and talk to your husband. Maybe one more try. So I came home and we talked about it. And he said, I'm mad. I don't know why they didn't choose. And I was like, okay, well, maybe I will try one more time. And this time I'll be paying attention. This time I'll look at this arena and figure out what it's going to take for me to succeed in it. And so I did. Who knew? 2023 comes around and I become Mrs. Colorado American. Go to the nationals of that pageant. What I didn't know was that pageant, the Mrs. pageant, is a pageant for women up to about 45. So anyone over 45, even though they'll take our money, our entrance fees, they're not interested in. And so I felt once again, like my 4-year-old self, summarily ignored.
Mm.
Like my 4-year-old self, I wasn't having that. I was like clutching my pearls. How dare you? The very nerve of you. How dare you? After I worked so hard to be able to stand on stage at 63 next to 33-year-olds, how dare you? Right. And it made me think, okay, maybe a voice in my head said, maybe you should go play in your own fish pond now, meaning compete with women your own age. Enter Miss Senior America. I gave up my Mrs. Colorado title April 6th of this year. On April 27th, I vied for the title of Ms. Colorado Senior America. Once again, through interesting circumstances, I was first runner-up. They didn't choose me. And then someone said, that's not the only way you can get to nationals. I was like, what do you mean? Nationals only has about 23 states that have pageants and clubs. You could go to nationals, open state or at large, find a sponsor, and you could go representing another state. So we got on the phone with the director. She had taken a look at the videotapes of the Colorado pageant, and she said to me, I'm not supposed to say this, but I don't know what Colorado's thinking, because you, my dear, are exactly what we're looking for at the national level. So if you're not mad about not being chosen, I have a way for you to get to nationals. What state do you want? I chose Louisiana. I thought to myself, where is it likely when people see me coming across the stage that I might be from? Because she gave me North Dakota, South Dakota, Utah, Nebraska. I was like, oh, no. And then she said Louisiana. And I thought that's going to make sense to people. It's nobody, no one's going to think one way or the other. So I chose Louisiana. And the end of the story, as the universe would have it, this was my calling. Right. And can I just tell you, Cynthia, that pageantry in general was a thing that made me know using it to create for yourself a way to learn how to speak extemporaneously, to be more active in the community, and to just be inspiring to other women on a lot of different fronts. Pageantry supplies that desire. And so because of that, I always thought, like from my Miss America days, I thought, the kind of person I am, I would make a great national representative. Why won't someone pick me?
Right.
Why didn't Miss America pick me? Why didn't Mrs. America pick me? I don't get it. Really, God, what? Well, the answer is because I had something else for you.
Yes.
I had something.
But what's interesting is that it's like I was so excited when the feed came up and there you were and they're putting the crown on you and, the gorgeous outfit you had when you were singing.
Uh-huh.
And what you just said is really important because a lot of people look at pageants as frivolous.
Yeah.
But the ability to touch a lot of people in a lot of different ways.
That's right.
When you are represented like that, I think is extraordinary. So my question is, okay, you're married 28 years. You guys run a company.
Yes.
You're still acting. You're Mrs. Now Senior America.
Yeah.
You're running all over the world. Do you sleep?
No, I'll sleep when I'm dead. That's my standard answer. Sleep? No, I'll sleep when I'm dead.
Right. Yeah, so you found a way to manage your energy, though.
I found a way to manage my energy because I'm just kidding about that. It's like I have plenty of sleep and I know how to rest, and I have the ability to sleep almost anywhere, standing up, sitting down, leaned over in a ball. Do you know what I mean? Because I've traveled all over the world at all hours of the day and night.
Right.
Like when you take people on tours to Egypt, if you want the best pricing and that kind of stuff, very often you have to be at temples and get up at 3 and 4 o'clock in the morning. Do you know what I mean? So I got my sleep thing down. I love airplanes, so I can sleep on an airplane. I can sleep in airports, anywhere, anywhere.
Yeah, well, I think those of us that are world travelers, you have to learn that or you cease to exist.
Exactly.
Well,
Exactly.
I want to know about with all of this that's gone on in your life and all the creativity and all the dedication to family. I
Mhm.
want to talk about your spirituality because that seems to have run in tandem with all of the rest of the things that have happened. Let's talk about that a little bit.
Absolutely. Well, I spent 20 years with an organization called Circles of Light Ministries. And Circles of Light Ministries, in the early days, its musical arm was me.
Hmm.
Whenever we traveled to places and the leader of that organization wanted to give those people a gift, she'd turn and look at me and say, Natalie, sing them something. And that then metamorphosed over 20 years into a trio, a group of 24, a group of 12, and I, of course, was the heir apparent to become the director of that group. And so I spent 20 years on the road, either singing by myself, singing with a trio, singing with a madrigal, group. Um, with the first thought being, I want to know my purpose here, Father. Why did you send me here? Where would you have me, as the course would say, where would you have me go? What would you have me do? With whom would you have me speak? And what would you, Father, have me say? That's sort of my daily mantra. And because that's how I've led my life from the moment I realized whose child I am, I have been allowed extraordinary experiences around seeking first the kingdom
Yes.
and knowing that
Yes.
seeking first the kingdom, all things would be added to me. So I'm living proof of that now, and now having spent, gone to Egypt 20 times, studying the origins of faith and studying everything that is left on those temple walls, being able to help us know how to live our lives if you can unlock the code. The time came when Spirit was saying, okay, now it's time for you to lead your own trips. So we spent the last 5 years. That's who Dr. Monica Ogando is, leading, spiritual journeys to Egypt. So God has, since I really realized who God is in my life, has led the fray.
Yes.
And everything else has followed with that always being first in my mind. Okay, God, what? Okay, God, what? And can I just tell you, this last title, this national title, was an out of body experience from the very beginning. Like, I almost didn't make the plane. I finished 2 shows at POTUS. Jeffrey was right there to take me to the airport. I was there in plenty of time, but I was tired and I had headphones in and I didn't hear them change the gate till the 3rd time. I go running to the gate. They closed the plane. And they don't open after they don't open, except it was me. And I was standing there like a parade float in my crown and banner because I'm about to go to Atlantic City, right? And I looked at the poor girl and said, oh, please, you have to do something. And she was like, I don't know. And she walked away. And then I just went into my little prayer corner and said, okay, Spirit, now I know you did not bring me all this way. 45 years of pursuing this particular dream to have me standing in this airport with nowhere to go. I know you did not. A minute later, a supervisor came back, went out the doors, went outside, opened the plane, and let me and just a couple of people who had missed their connection on this plane. From that moment, I felt, okay, something's up here. Something's up. Got on the plane, got to Philly, limo waiting, got to Atlantic City. It's 7:30 in the morning. They don't usually give you your room at 7:30 in the morning, but I batted my little eyelashes and he gave me my room. He put me in a tower on the 65th floor with a beautiful view of the ocean in Atlantic City. The order of my participation, I got to sing first. Then I met the judges. Then we did evening gown and philosophy of life, just the way that I wanted. Everything, Cynthia, everything that could go right did. And when I was done, I said to the judges, listen, this is 45 years in the making. Whether you pick me or not, I win because I left my A+ game on this stage. I came to bring everything I know about pageantry and everything I know about being a performer, everything I know about speaking extemporaneously from my heart. I brought it all together. And I left my A+ game. So I win. Now, I'm not telling you not to pick me if it's ordained. But I just want you to know it won't be the end of my life if you don't. If it's somebody else's turn, I want that somebody else to have it. But if Coach wants to put me in, Coach knows I'm ready. Coach knows I'm ready.
Well, you know what I love about what you're saying? I think that applies to life. If you can show up in any arena, giving your all, your best, your humility,
Yeah,
your willingness to open and surrender and be the best you can be, then the universe will support you whether you get a crown or not,
that's
or
exactly
whether you get a job or not. It's
that's
gonna support you
right.
because that's what's asked of us, to be the best that we can be.
That's exactly right. You know, to put your hand in God's hand, to say, all right, Coach, what is it today? And really be willing to listen and follow that.
Yes,
Many are called, few are choosing.
that's right.
You
That's
know,
right.
I'm one who's choosing. And so I notice that I come up with stuff that I think God planted there that is in direct alignment with what I'm supposed to do next.
Right.
And then I'll just follow it.
I love it. So, Natalie, how do people find you and know what you're doing in the world and all the amazing places that you're showing up? How do they find you?
All right, get your pencils out, people. There are 6 possible places. NamasteWorks.net, TNWAA.org. My Instagram handle is AngeloDiva60. My and Miss Senior America 2025. My Facebook handle is Natalie Dawn Oliver Atherton. And now there's even a new arm called Namaste Works Crown Coaching. So pick any one of those, anyone, namasteworks.net, TNWAA. Find me on Messenger, on Instagram. If you need something from me, if you need some coaching, if your child needs a really great voice teacher and somebody who can help them get into college, find me, DM me, email me, and then I'll find you.
I so love that. Well, it's beautiful to listen to you express from your heart. I ask the same last question of every guest on my show. The show is called Women Awakening.
Mm.
What do you think is the most important thing about women awakening on the planet in this moment?
I think the most important thing, ladies, is to know that this awakening is an inside job. It's a putting your hand in God's hand and saying, okay, Coach, what is it? And I saw something on the net the other day, one of those lovely captions with a beautiful background. And it says, when sleeping women wake, mountains will move.
Yes.
Chinese, right?
Yes.
Ladies, do the internal work. Whatever you call God, get in touch. Get in touch. Find out what your purpose actually is, and then listen. Listen and take your marching orders.
So beautiful. Natalie, thank you so much for being here. I love your wisdom. I love your tenacity, your willingness to share your gifts. It's quite inspiring.
You're very sweet. Thank you very much. And ditto, 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 mega dittos goes to you for all I've been watching you do all these years. I saw you way back when you were still in California at Agape. So it's lovely that we managed to draw you into Colorado and your energy and all that you do for women and spirituality and spiritual travels. And I follow you and what do they call that? Stalk you on the net. So I
Thank
know
you,
where you are and what you're doing and follow you and your handsome husband all the time.
Thank you, my darling. Okay, ladies, I'm going to end this show the way I always end it. Give you the same message with different words. People like Natalie are way showers. They are saying, tap into your passion, tap into your purpose. It's encoded, and then bring it. Bring it anywhere you are, everywhere you are. Wake up and share, because the planet is waiting for you, and there are people that are waiting for your light to shine on them. I am so grateful to be with you. I'm so grateful to do this show. I love you so much, and I will see you next time.